My fiancée dumped me after her rich ex came back into her life. Now she wants me back after he cheated on her, but I've moved on. I'm 28, male, and I thought I had my life on track, at least in the relationship department. I was engaged to Qley, the girl I thought was the one. She wasn't just good looking, she had this vibe that made me feel like the luckiest guy. We'd been together 4 years, and I was convinced this was it. But of course, life doesn't really give a crap about your plans, does it? Now Qley had an ex before me, M. You know the type. Loaded family, flashy lifestyle, the kind of guy who walks into a room and owns it. She told me it was over with him, that they had ended on good terms but had moved on. Still, it always bugged me how his name popped up every once in a while, like this lingering ghost. I let it slide though. I trusted her, or at least I wanted to. Fast forward to last summer, and that's when things started getting weird. Qley told me M had reached out to her, said he wanted to catch up since he was back in town after living abroad for a few years. Red flags went up in my head, but she brushed it off like it was no big deal. She said they were just old friends, and nothing more. I didn't like it, but I wasn't about to be the insecure, jealous guy. So I told myself I was just overthinking it. But deep down, I knew something was off. Then she started running into him more often. First, it was at the gym, then a coffee here and there. Next thing I knew, she was going to his parties and telling me it was just friends hanging out. At this point, I could feel something was wrong. I'm not an idiot, but every time I tried to bring it up, she'd tell me I was overreacting, that I had nothing to worry about. I wanted to believe her, so I did. Until I couldn't anymore. One night, she sat me down. She looked nervous, like she was about to drop a bombshell. And man, did she ever. I need to talk to you about something, she said, not even making eye contact. I knew what was coming. My gut had been telling me for weeks. I think I need to figure things out with them, she finally said. I stared at her, not really believing what I was hearing. What do you mean, figure things out? I asked, my voice coming out sharper than I intended. I still have feelings for him. Unresolved feelings. He's back, and I think I need to see if we can make it work. Just like that, she was throwing away 4 years of our life together. Over a guy who had waltzed back into her life after disappearing for years. I couldn't even speak at first. I was that stunned. I finally managed to ask, "So you're leaving me for him?" "I just need time to explore things with him," she said, like it was the most logical thing in the world. "Maybe after that we can see where things go. With us." The audacity of it. She was basically telling me, hey, I'm gonna try things out with this rich douchebag, but if it doesn't work out, keep yourself available, okay? I just stood up and walked out. There was no way I was sticking around for that kind of bullshit. I didn't need time to think. I wasn't going to be anyone's plan B. The next few weeks sucked. There's no other way to put it. It was like a punch in the gut every time I thought about how she tossed me aside the second someone shinier came along. But after a while, something shifted in me. I started realizing that if she could do that, she wasn't the person I thought she was. I focused on myself, worked out more, spent more time with friends, threw myself into my job. Eventually, I met someone new. Let's call her L. She was different. Kind, supportive, and genuinely interested in me, not in some fantasy about what I could be. Things with Elle were easy. I didn't feel like I was competing with anyone or anything. For the first time in a long time, I felt stable. That's when Qley decided to pop back into my life. I was chilling one night when my phone buzzed. It was a text from Qley. "I made a mistake. Can we talk?" I nearly laughed out loud. A mistake? That's what she was calling it? But part of me was curious. So I agreed to meet her. Not because I was thinking about getting back together, but because I wanted to hear her out. Maybe it was the closure I needed. We met at a cafe, and she looked rough, pale, tired, almost like she hadn't slept in days. The second she saw me, she launched into this whole sob story about how she'd been wrong, how M wasn't who she thought he was, and how he'd cheated on her with some random chick. "I never should have left you," she cried, tears already streaming down her face. "I thought M was what I wanted, but he's not you. He doesn't care about me the way you did." I sat there watching her, feeling nothing, just cold. And that's when it hit me. She didn't miss me. She missed the security. She missed having someone who would put up with her shit. She was back because M had screwed her over and she didn't want to be alone. Not because she had some grand realization that I was the love of her life. She was just lonely. "You can't be serious," I finally said, barely able to contain the sarcasm. "You thought you could walk back into my life because your rich ex-boyfriend cheated on you?" She blinked, like she hadn't expected me to be this blunt. "I made a mistake," she said again, her voice shaky. "No," I snapped. "You made a choice. You chose him over me. You don't get to waltz back into my life just because things didn't go the way you planned." She started crying harder, reaching across the table for my hand. I pulled away. "Please, just give me one more chance," she begged, her voice breaking. I just shook my head. "I've moved on, Kay. I'm with someone else now. Like someone who actually respects me." Her face went white. "You're with someone else?" she asked, as if the idea that I could move on without her was impossible. "Yeah," I said. "And even if I wasn't, whatever this is between us, it's dead. You can't just undo what you did. You left, and that's on you." She sat there in stunned silence, probably realizing for the first time that I wasn't going to take her back. She had gambled everything, and she had lost. Tough luck. I thought that was the end of it, but of course it wasn't. Kay didn't take no for an answer. She started showing up at my place, unannounced, texting me at all hours of the night, saying she was depressed and couldn't live without me. It was straight-up emotional manipulation. One night, she actually waited outside my building for hours, texting me nonstop until I finally came out to tell her to leave. She threw a full-on tantrum in the middle of the street, yelling at me that I was abandoning her, that I didn't care about her anymore. "You're heartless," she screamed. "After everything we had, you're just going to let me suffer?" I stood there, pissed off but calm. "Kay, you made your choice," I said, keeping my voice steady. "This isn't love. This is you trying to manipulate me, and I'm not playing your game. You need to leave me alone." I thought that would be enough. It wasn't. A few days later, she showed up at my workplace, playing the victim card in front of my coworkers, acting like I was the bad guy. I was beyond done at that point. That was the last straw. So I did what I had to do. I filed a restraining order. I told her straight up that if she didn't back off, there would be serious consequences. That was the only way to get her to stop. I hated having to go that far, but she left me no choice. She wasn't going to respect my boundaries unless I forced her to. After that, she finally stopped. I haven't heard from her since. Good riddance. Looking back, I don't feel sorry for her at all. She thought she could trade me in for her rich ex and that I'd just be sitting around waiting for her to come back. She was wrong. I've moved on. I'm with someone who actually respects me and values our relationship. It wasn't easy getting here, but damn, it feels good to be free of that toxic mess. So, yeah. If you ever find yourself in a situation where someone's trying to treat you like a backup plan, don't be. You deserve better than that, and hey, if you're still watching, maybe give me a subscribe. Could be fun.